Hello and welcome back to Trash Talk Podcast, where we're getting pretty close to number 50, which you know is going to be the special top 10 songs of all time list podcast thing that we're going to do. But today is going to be specifically a nerdy podcast, is that correct?
Yeah, it seems like it.
How you doing, JJ, by the way?
I'm doing fine.
So what are exactly we doing today?
Well, for the first topic, I think we're talking about chess.
We're talking about chess because over the last year, I've adopted a bunch of games that JJ has been playing for a while, specifically Hearthstone and, to a lesser extent, Dungeons and Dragons,
which we'll talk about later.
Which is also both of which, by the way, which is why it's a nerdy podcast. But chess is a game that I have been playing for a while, and I have a bunch of questions that I'm going to ask JJ to test his pre-existing knowledge, and I'm just going to introduce him to the basics, and you as well, because you're listening to it, so you might as well start to learn chess, and maybe we're going to continue doing that on the channel. So if JJ wants to learn a bit more, because I've been saying for probably quite a while that I believe JJ is the type of person that can totally play chess.
Well, I used to, not competitively or anything, but I used to play chess, somewhat regularly when I was, really young. Like with my father.
Back in the day?
Yeah, I think I started playing when I was 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I've been playing for a few years then every now and again on the weekend with my father.
Alright.
But I've never been really into the strategy or anything. I know how to move the pieces.
You never been reading books and studying up and shit? Okay.
I know how to move the pieces and that's about it.
Right. So here's my first question, right? How long have I been playing chess? Competitively. Do you know that? At all?
I don't know, but I know there's definitely been at least a few years.
Well, it's been specifically 10 years. Because
that's a lot.
Actually, a few months ago, I was honored for being a member of the chess club that I'm a member of for 10 years. They gave me a little pin.
So you joined when you were 3?
Shut up. I joined them in 3rd grade or something like that. It's been a while. So, okay. Name all the pieces.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Name all the pieces. And if you can, also the constellation in the beginning.
Oh, God. I always fuck the constellation up, interestingly enough.
Right. You can start naming pieces.
So, let's start with the most common one, which would be the pawns.
The pawns, yeah.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah. And later in life, you're going to learn that pawns actually don't count as pieces. They're just pawns. There's pawns and there's pieces. But for this, now it doesn't matter.
Really?
So, yeah, but I totally meant to include those anyway, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there's kings and queens.
There's kings and queens.
There's bishops. There's rooks. And there is one that I'm missing. Is it castle or something like that?
No, the castle is a move.
Oh, right. Wait, what are they called? God damn it.
You should know that because there's actually a Hearthstone card corresponding to that.
I know. I'm totally blanking on that one right now.
Discover a spell and restore health equal to its cost to your hero. Paladin card.
Oh, right, the knight. Why am I blanking on the knight?
I don't know. Why we would okay, so now the constellation. First of all, let's talk about the board, right? So the board has which dimensions?
It's 16 by 16, isn't it?
It's 8 by 8.
8 by 8. Wow. I was about to say, how many pieces would there be on this board?
Exactly.
No, how did they get that one?
Exactly. So it's 8 by 8.
Because there is 16 pieces on each side.
Exactly.
In 2 rows.
Exactly.
So, well.
Now we need the constellation. Let's just imagine you're sitting in front of the board, you got the white pieces.
Yeah. So first of all,
go from left to right, or from outside to inside, whatever you like.
So yeah. First of all, there's always the 2 back rows opposite each other.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second row from the back, there's always just pawns.
There's just pawns.
There's 8 pawns there. So that's pretty easy.
It's true.
Then we've got the. Okay, we got the rooks on the corners.
True.
And we got the king and queen in the center.
Right.
And here's where I always mess it up.
All
because I can never fucking figure out the bishops and the knights.
Right.
That's I always get those two confused. I can only guess in which order those go.
And which one would that be?
I don't know. Let's just say the bishops next to the rooks and the knights and center. I literally.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
Right.
I literally cannot. I never could remember how to order those two pieces.
Okay, there's some sayings that you can use to remember that.
Also, there is what is it like the how does it go? Like I think the queen is always on the square that's colored the same as the queen, or
exactly.
Something like
that. That's all. That's already the next one I was going to be asking you. So that means
because I only said the two in the center,
right? Which also means that both kings would immediately oppose themselves and both queens would oppose themselves.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't the case, then they wouldn't be.
That would probably be a very different game then, actually.
Yeah, it'd be very different because, like, right in opening theory, there might be completely different positions. And I don't even know how that would look, if that would be, like, an advantage for one person.
That's also fascinating, the idea that, we switched two pieces that are standing right next to each other. Now the game is totally different.
Exactly. There's actually a variant of chess that's called Chess 960, I believe, which is that you put up all the pawns,
yes,
and then all the other pieces, constellation is decided randomly by just pulling one out of a bag and then placing it, or like your opponent's gonna point to a square and you're gonna place it there.
Okay, yeah.
And it's called...
I was about to say, pulling it out of a bag is like, you can feel the difference in pieces.
And it's called 960 because I believe there's 960 different constellations to do that.
Okay.
So that's not really what, like, that's just for the fun type of chess. Like,
I was about to say that there's a lot of RNG involved.
There's dozens of those variants that don't see competitive play. So the regular competitive play is just, it's always the same constellation. Which... Okay, so apparently what you need to remember is knights and then bishops going outside to inside.
Okay, yeah, again, I always screw that up.
Okay, so let's talk about how pieces can move, right? So how can pawns move?
Well, they can move straight ahead.
Yeah.
One square, and I believe for their first move they can move two, right?
That's true.
And... and if you take the piece from the opponent, then they move diagonally.
They have to.
Yeah.
So you can't capture in a straight line, and you can't not capture in a diagonal line. So if you're gonna move it, you're gonna move it straight up, and if you're gonna capture, you need to do it diagonally.
Which is odd, because if I think about it, that's the only piece that does that, right? All the others just move the same as if they when they capture.
That's true.
Well, I shouldn't say all the other pieces, because apparently pawns are pieces.
Yeah, technically, but for now it doesn't matter. Okay, what's the specialty, or what happens if a pawn reaches the back rank?
You can exchange it for any other for any piece of your choosing.
You cannot let it be a pawn. I assume
you can't let it be a king either.
You can't let it be a king, right? Because you can only have one king. You can't.
Usually people use queens, I think.
Queens is in 99% of cases, queens make sense.
Because it's just the strongest piece.
Basically, in every situation imaginable, queen is better than a rook or bishop because the queen combines both.
So there might be situations where you would want a knight.
That basically never happens in real games, but there's like puzzles, which are kind of hard to solve. Where you need to actually push a pawn into the back rank and pick a knight, so as to not stalemate your opponent by picking a queen.
Yeah.
But that's like, it basically never happens, so usually it's gonna be a queen. Okay, so let's talk about then rooks. How do they move?
Well, they are actually very simple. They move in straight lines. You can move however far you want. Yeah. If you take a piece, you'll have to stop at the piece though. Yeah,
that's true. So they can also not jump over other pieces.
Yes, that is
and
correct.
You obviously can't capture your own pieces. That's also...
Well, but then again... None except for knights can move over other pieces.
That's true. That's the next one I was getting at. What way do knights move, though?
They move in this like L shape where they move like 3 in one direction, then like 1 over.
They move 2 in one, and then 1 over.
Yeah, I mean if you imagine that as like one path, they move 2 ahead and 1 diagonal. Yeah. Or you can say they move
they move 2 ahead and 1 to the left.
Oh.
So it's just
it doesn't have to go left. They can move left or right.
Yeah, left or right, of course, but not diagonally.
Okay.
So you can't move like a straight line of 3 squares with a. You know how the board, like, let me visualize this. You know how the board is built?
Yes.
So say you're the white player, your knight will start on G1 and B1, right?
Yeah.
So the G1 knight you can move to F3.
The thing is, if I had a chessboard in front of me, I probably would have moved it correctly as well.
Probably.
But like, it's just like. it's been so long, man.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how that works.
I mean, also, you can always see that because it also always moves to a square of the other color.
That is also true about knights.
Which isn't necessarily part of the rules. It's just how their movement shapes happens to pan out.
Exactly. There's also a fun beginner's puzzle where it's like, there's nothing but a knight on the board, and you're supposed to move it to
hit every square
in the least amount of moves.
That's like a mathematical puzzle.
Exactly.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. Number 5 probably did that before.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Next would be the bishops.
The bishops. They move diagonally. And that's pretty much it. Again, same thing as the rooks. Like if they capture a piece, they stop there.
Right.
And they can't move over other pieces.
Exactly.
Which also, once again, related to colors, calls them to always stay on the same color, of course.
Exactly. Which means that both of your bishops will never meet.
Yes.
Because there are different colors. That's also why, for bishops, it's more important to consider, sometimes later in the games, which bishop you want to trade and which one you want to keep. Depending on the structure on the board, some type of squares might be stronger than others. So, for example, this is a bit more advanced already, but say all the pawns will be placed on dark squares. You'd probably want to keep your light square bishop, because that's going to have a lot more room to move.
Yes.
Right, so it's going to be a lot more effective. Because if there's a bishop like behind 2 pawns diagonally, it's basically like a pawn.
Yeah.
So that's also some strategy to be considered there. So queen.
Well, the queen can basically do what the rook and bishop can do.
Yes.
But it can do either one. But it can only do one.
That's true. It can move diagonally.
Because if it could move in a straight line and diagonally simultaneously, it could just pour to it.
That would just be overpowered. Right. Also can't jump over other pieces.
Again, only knights can do that.
Only knights can do that. So queen is the most valuable piece. How about the king?
The king can move 1 square at a time in any direction.
Right.
Yeah, and it also captures pieces that way, but yeah.
Yeah, can move
also, you can, there's this thing which you can do, which I believe the rook and the king, you're basically trading places, but not quite.
Alright, that's a
very specific maneuver.
This is the castle.
This
is the castle I was talking about. This is actually a very good move to do in the opening to stabilize your king's position. So, let's consider the white position again, right? Your king would start on E1, and your rooks will start on A1 and H1 respectively, right?
Did I ever mention that I'm really bad at visualizing things?
Are you?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say like this, right? You got your king, and to the right of your king you got your bishop, knight, and rook, right?
Yes.
So say you somehow manage to get your knight and bishop out.
Yeah.
You can then pull your king next to the rook, the square where the knight was originally.
Yes.
And then take the rook, jump over the king, put it where the bishop originally was.
Yes.
That's how. So castles basically your king moves 2 squares to whichever direction you want to castle, and then the rook comes right next to the other side.
Yeah.
That works both on the king side and on the queen side.
Yes, I know.
That's what a castle is. Now there's specific rules for that. You cannot castle when your king's already moved or the rook has already moved before.
I also knew that.
You cannot castle while you're in check.
I'm not sure if I ever encountered that, but
and you can also not castle if you would castle through a check.
What do you mean through?
Say you have that situation where you got your king on E1, your rook on H1, and you would want to castle. Say an opponent's piece would be covering the square F1.
Yes.
Like a bishop or something like that. You're not in check, but if you were to castle, you would have to move your king through a check.
Okay.
You can't do that either.
I definitely wouldn't have known that. Right. But that's also very specific.
Yeah, it's another one of those rules. So, do you know piece value?
Like numerical values?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so we're obviously, because it makes sense, counting the value of pieces in pawns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the pawn obviously is 1.
Yes. It would be weird if the pawn was valued at any other number of pawns except for 1.
Exactly.
Because all pawns are created equal.
All pawns are created equal. Even the black pawns. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, can you guess which piece would be the least valuable then?
The least
to most valuable.
Are we still counting pawns as pieces?
No.
Okay, because otherwise they would be the least valuable. I I mean, it would figure that the bishops would be less valuable, but then again, they can also move through stuff a lot. So it would have to be either be the rook or bishop, I suppose.
It's actually the bishop and the knight.
Okay.
So
I actually like knights, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it depends on the position with those.
Because the knights are basically the only thing that can reliably take out a queen without the queen being able to move out the way. Usually.
Well, yeah, you can trap queens other ways.
You can trap them with multiple pieces or shit like that,
but... generally, it's said that in open positions, when there's a lot of pawns already off the board, then bishops are stronger because of their range. But in very close positions, knights are stronger because of their ability to hop over other pieces.
Yes.
So... bishop and knight, this is not like a general ruling, but this is like the philosophy, like as a guideline. Bishops and knights are both valued at like 3. So they're worth 3 pawns. Varies from position to position. Most like masters tend to prefer bishops a little bit, like because it's generally considered stronger to have a pair of bishops than a pair of knights. They're both at 3. So next one will be the rooks. So that's actually a bit stronger than you would have imagined. It's valued at 5.
Okay.
Because it can move vertically, horizontally, and they're pretty strong. Like for example, if they're behind each other,
yes,
they're pretty powerful. And then the queen is valued at 9.
Okay, there isn't even enough pawns for that, but sure.
Right, sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're valuing them in pawns. There's 8 pawns, the queen's worth 9.
Well, for the queen it's tough to visualize that, but yeah, if you wanted to sacrifice 3 pawns for a bishop, then that would, at least in the numerical values, would be okay. Positionally, of course, that's completely different to be seen. And the king doesn't really have a value in this because...
I thought so.
It's like, its value is infinity. If your king's gone, you lose.
Exactly, right? It's like, oh yeah. My king's gone.
Yeah.
It's what to do.
So that's all. That also brings us to the final goal of the actual game, which is to checkmate your opponent's king. Mm-hmm. Which means to put it in check in such a way that it cannot move.
Which I always figured makes it tough to play chess with Australians.
Because
whenever they put you in check, they'll say checkmate.
Checkmate. Wait, it's not mate. It's no, it's just check, mate. and then eventually they'll be like check, mate. And then like, yeah, okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah, the final goal of the game is to checkmate your opponent. That figures, right? Common misconception is that people will always say check or checkmate when they put someone in check or checkmate. Typically, you don't say that.
All right.
Specifically, you can, but that's like a very much amateur thing to do. Like a very much beginner's thing to do.
Yeah, because for beginners, they don't necessarily see whenever they're in check.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's easier to just tell them, oh, by the way, move your fucking king or move a piece to block it.
Exactly. Or capture the piece that gets checked. That's the 3 ways to defend from the check. So, we don't do that because, obviously we're expecting people to see it, but there are some modes in chess, specifically the faster games, the blitz games, rapid games that are like 10 or 5 minutes per game, where making an illegal move actually loses the game.
Oh. Okay.
So it makes sense not to tell your opponent you're in check, right?
Yeah.
So they might overlook it. Typically they won't.
That's like playing Hearthstone and saying well played when your opponent has like a very specific lethal.
Yeah, exactly.
And otherwise they might have traded. So they would have missed it, but you told them that they're winning, so they're checking again.
Basically. Which...
I'm not sure I'm making Hearthstone.
You wouldn't even know if your opponent has a very specific lethal, because you only know what he's got on the board.
No, but I'm saying, like, if... Like, taking out certain taunts in a very... with very specific pieces, using hero power... You know?
Yeah, but that's not that specific. Like, everybody should be able to figure it out.
Hitting face with your weapon before attacking with your thug, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right. Okay, so one more comment.
Thugs should totally be chess pieces.
Thugs. Yeah, they could replace the rooks. It's a thug. Okay, one more a common misconception is, what is your belief of the best strategy to follow in the first few moves? Have you ever been taught anything like, what do you do in the first few moves? What do you want to accomplish right from the opening?
Well, you would definitely want to move some pawns so that you can get your other pieces out there.
Right. So which one specifically would you move?
Oh, God. I don't know. I know that there is one specific combination you shouldn't do because that way you can get checkmate like 3 turns.
Yeah, there's a little lot of those.
Like right. I don't know. It's like called like the Fool's Checkmate or some shit like that.
Something like that, yeah. A lot of beginners believe that it's a good idea to push the edge pawns, like the A and H pawns, and then immediately push up the rooks and bring them to the center.
Which you probably don't want to do.
No.
Especially because, as you said, getting your king to the edge of the board by castling is advantageous. Thereby, those 2 pieces you specifically don't want.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, here's a parallel to Hearthstone, right? Board control is important. So what you want to do in your first few moves is always to take control of the center. So it's always probably the best 2 moves in the beginning would be E4 and D4. So the central pawns. The queen's pawn or the king's pawn. Push them up 2 squares. Establish the center and gain control of it by, first of all, pushing a pawn or 2, and then developing your knights and bishops first. Those are called your minor pieces.
Yes.
Whereas your rooks and queen are the major pieces.
Okay.
So that's, I can, like, later on, I can show you a specific position. That's always a good idea to push. A central pawn, maybe both of them, if your opponent allows it. And say you push center pawn, your opponent pushes an edge pawn. You can push the other center pawn, and you're basically already better. Because you got really good control over the center from where you can direct your pieces the best way. So it's always about space advantage there. And then develop your knights and bishops, get castled, and then slowly combine your rooks together on the back rank towards the center. And then put your queen in good position, and that's it. You're never supposed to like play your queen first and stuff like that. You can't play your first turn, obviously, but you can push a pawn and then play a queen out, which is not recommended. So that's kind of how it is supposed to be done. There's, of course, different variations to do that, but for a beginner, that's kind of a good baseline to know. Because most people, for some reason, when they play their first game, they push like Harry the H pawn. That's what we call him, Harry.
Okay.
Harry the H pawn. That's some YouTuber who calls him that, and I find it funny. They push the H pawn and just pull up the rook to H3 and then push it to E3 next turn. So that's not a good idea. You can visualize that better when we get a board in front of us, but that's basically like the basics. Do you have any questions regarding what we talked about now? Because we can do more stuff later on.
Not really, because most of what we talked about is just the rules, which I already knew, except for some of the very specific castle situations.
Right. So that's already good, because most people need to spend some time on actually teaching that.
Again, I've played chess for a while. I've just never gotten into strategy.
Exactly. I also feel like that you could.
The strategy you explained was just very basic, so there's not a lot to question.
I feel like that once you start learning a little bit about that, you're gonna improve rather quickly, because you got the necessary logical thinking skills to figure out what makes sense and what doesn't.
Yes.
Because a lot of people will be like, they'll be making moves, they just don't make sense intuitively. And I think you can bypass most of that. You're gonna understand why you would understand already why it makes sense to have a space advantage, right?
Yeah.
So you got, like, say you can seize the first 5 rows of the board, right? So that means your opponent only has 3. So that obviously gives
you a lot of more maneuverability for your pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always a good idea, because you want to push stuff out and attack later. So see, that's what I'm talking about. So that obviously makes sense. So let's cut it here for the chess topic. Got some other stuff coming up, but we can talk about this again in the future. Maybe we're gonna do individual videos if we're gonna find some slot to upload them during the week. Maybe not a weekly thing, but every once in a while. Let's get into the halftime show.
Yeah, we really shouldn't start more weekly
series. It's a lot, but we'll see. Okay, so the halftime show is we've done this before. Some points. You want to talk about what we do real quick?
So, as you already said, we've done this before. It's the Hearthstone keyword quiz, where you enter something in the search bar and you basically look how many cards show up.
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to tell you how many cards show up and which ones. It's a whole new game because there's a bunch of new cards.
Which would matter.
And there's a bunch of old cards rotating out. Yeah. And I'm really bad at knowing what expansion what card is from.
Really? I thought you might know that.
Well, a lot of them I do, but there's some of them where I'm like, where is expansion from? Like 4-7-7? Oh, that's old gods.
That's old gods.
That's in standard. Well, it's not anymore, but when I said it wasn't, it was.
It was. So 4-7-7 is a legend. Okay.
No, so, it's not. I believe it's a rare or common.
I think it's a common, but it's a legend in my book, okay? And on Reddit. So, here's an example if you don't know what we're talking about. The first word is wood. Wood.
So, just to confirm, it does not automatically include the expansion name in the search. No. Okay.
I entered Witchwood first, and then it did. But wood, it does not.
Okay, good, because that would be bad.
Yeah.
Because then it would be a bunch of cards, plus the few minor ones from before. Yeah. See, that's already tough.
How many cards are there? What, if you want to tell me what classes and which ones and how many?
Well, there is the warrior weapon, I believe it's called like the Woodcutter's Axe.
That is in there, that is correct. Woodcutter's Axe.
So that's definitely one of them. Oh god. Wood.
I would argue that most of those are from the Witchwood expansion.
Isn't there like an Ironwood Golem?
That is in there, yes, for the
for Druid, like a 3/6 can only take if you have like at least 3 armor or something like that.
Taunt, yeah.
And then Taunt, yeah.
Oaken Summon's Legend.
Yeah. Oh god.
There's 4 more. Wait, is that correct? There's 2. There's 5 more. So there's, what, 7 in total.
What, isn't the new Wisp summoning cards costing like the Whispering Woods or something?
Whispering Woods, yes.
Yeah.
It's also Druid Epic.
Yes, I knew that it was a Druid card. I couldn't have told you that's an Epic, but yeah, it's like a 4-mana spell or something like that. Summons a few Wisps.
Summon 1 Wisp for each card in your hand.
Oh, so right. It's not a set number. Wait, isn't the apple thing, is that just called the Witchwood Apple or something?
Yeah, the Witchwood Apple, also Druid.
I mean, it makes sense. A lot of the wood cards are Druid cards.
There's 3 left.
Okay. I mean, of course, the more I get it, the tougher it gets.
All Witchwood cards.
Oh, of course it's all Witchwood cards. Do some of them have Witchwood in their name as well?
All of them.
Oh, God.
Like, 2 neutral ones I could have told you, probably. The other one, maybe I wouldn't have gotten it.
I actually don't know right now.
Okay, so it's for Warlock, it's the Witchwood Imp. Stealth,
okay,
one
right,
stealth,
yeah.
That's what I'll give it for any minute.
When you said the name, I saw the art, but I couldn't have told you.
The other ones you definitely know, the Witchwood Piper and the Witchwood Grizzly.
Oh, yeah.
The Grizzly's pretty good. And the Piper I included in the old Shutterwalk.
I'm currently in an arena run where I have like 2 Grizzlies. It's great.
It's a good card, okay? So, okay, the next one is kind of cool. It's 10, but the number 10. 1-0.
Do all 10 mana cards show up?
Nope.
No, they don't. Okay, I know that there was a card in Old Gods that drew you a 10 cost minion, but of course that isn't in there anymore.
No longer in there.
The number 10. Number
10.
There is the what is his name? Like Splintergraft or something like that?
Splintergraft. Druid Legend.
He gives you a 10/10 copy of a minion that costs 10.
That's true.
Then there is Bring It On, which gives you 10 armor.
That should probably be in there. Yes, Bring It On is in there.
Oh god. That's tough because I assume there's a bunch more. There's probably 5 more or something like that.
There's also, I think, 7 in total. So yeah, that would be 5 more.
Oh god, 10.
There's 7 in total. 10. Got 2 of them so far.
Right now...
There's no neutral ones.
Okay. Right now I can't think of any, but there should be a few.
I know that this one you have...
Wait. Pyroblast deals 10 damage.
Pyroblast, very simple, yeah.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Oh god, I can't think of any others right now, but there's probably some really obvious ones.
So there's a Tree of the World Tree.
Right, because you gain 10 mana
crystals. There's Dino Size.
Because it sets it to 10/10.
Exactly. There's Unite the Murlocs, the quest, Shaman quest.
Because you need to play 10 Murlocs?
Summon 10 Murlocs.
Okay, yeah.
Quest. And then there's the Geosculptor Yip for the warrior. which at the end of your turn, summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor, in brackets, up to 10.
Did it always say up to 10?
It always said up to 10.
Okay. Because I knew the effect, but I couldn't have told you that it actually says up to... I knew it was up to 10 as well, I just didn't know it said on the card.
That was kind of tough. That's true. But, okay, next word is mind.
Mind.
M-I-N-D.
Well, most of those are priest cards.
Not sure if that's factually correct.
Is it not? Okay.
Well, it's not factually correct what you just said, no.
There's probably more neutrals than probably, but
there's equally as many neutrals as there's priest cards.
But there is mind games.
There's mind games.
There's mind visions.
Is there mind visions, though? Mind visions are no longer here.
Mind vision?
They might have rotated out.
Actually, quickly leave the crafting thing.
Yep.
They might be standard cards, in which case they wouldn't show up in crafting.
Oh, yeah, true. They do.
Okay,
So now I need to be switching between...
Yeah, that's the problem, because there is no way...
Right.
Wait, no, actually go to crafting and include uncraftable cards.
Okay.
There should be a checkmark there.
Yep, okay, good.
That's how you do that.
Yeah, in that case, there is mostly priest cards. Mind games, mind vision.
Mind control.
Mind control.
Let me... No, that actually doesn't say mind.
No.
The Cabal Shadow Priest.
Nope.
It just says let me change your mind, but it doesn't actually say it on the card.
There's 4 more.
Wait, Shadow Form is in center, but it doesn't say mind at any point. Because the hero bar is called Mind Spike and Mind Shatter, but I don't think it actually says it on the card. There's probably at least 1 or 2 cards that have mind somewhere in the middle of the word, not as a separate word.
No, actually.
No?
No.
Because you'd think that could be like in the middle of a word somewhere.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, probably just tell me.
So, for Priest, there's Mind Blast.
Obviously.
And there's Devour Mind.
Okay, that's slightly less obvious, but I could have known that too.
And neutral minions would be the Mind Control Tech and the Mind Breaker.
Oh god, the MC Tech, of course.
And Mind Breaker, which is actually being played these days. Because of all the hero powers. Okay, this one...
I just know that whenever I face a Mind Breaker, it always ends up being worse for the person who played it than for me.
This one is Frost.
Holy shit.
Frost.
Okay, there's Frostbolt.
There's Frostbolt.
I believe there's like a Frost Shock or something like that. Is there not?
Shock?
Something like
yes, that's a Shaman card.
There is the Frostlich Jaina.
Obviously.
Well, there is an uncollectible card. That would be the Frostmourne, but that's not in there, of course. Frost. I'm definitely missing some.
There's 4. That's 5 more.
Okay. Oh God.
Yeah. One of them is a mage card. The other ones were all neutral.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
We
need to play this game next time when I do this. So you got to do the same thing, and I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
That would be interesting too, because I think like I'm getting there where I can actually maybe do that.
Yeah, the problem is just it's not even that you don't know the cards; it's just that you're blanking on the names, which is totally what's happening to me right now. Right? Yeah.
So Mage, you got Frost Nova.
That should have been very obvious.
Yeah. Neutral, I'm not sure if there are any really obvious, but they got Frostwolf Grunt.
Yeah, the 2/2 yeah.
Hildnir Frost Rider.
Okay.
Frostwolf Warlord and the Frost Elemental.
Oh yeah, the Frost Elemental. That's the like 6 mana 5/5 freeze an enemy, right?
Freeze a character. Yeah.
Freeze a character, whatever.
That.
I mean, it usually is used on enemies.
Exactly. Next one, I had to duck around with the word a little bit. I was gonna use deal, but then everyone shows up, so it's now deals. Deal.
Oh, because whenever you deal damage, it just says deal.
for every battle cry, death threat on everything. So that was way too much, so it's now deals.
Deals. I'm gonna say there's probably still a bunch, so let's just say 12.
There's 2.
2? Wow.
2 cards. Well, if you know 12 of them, then you would have no problem naming 2.
That's true. Like, whenever a minion deals damage or something
like that.
Yeah. Right. There is a shaman card that whenever you deal... No, wait, it says whenever you deal damage, doesn't it? Where you heal face, then...
Right.
That's tough!
Yeah, it's tough. There is 2 cards. Told you that. It is tough.
I honestly can't think of a single one right now. Is there one that has it in its name? Or is it all just description text?
It's all description text.
That makes sense. Okay, continue.
They're both from the same class. Maybe you can get the class.
Well, is it warrior? That sounds like a warrior thing.
It's rogue.
And
it is the Doomerang. Throw your weapon at the minion. It deals its damage, returns to your hand.
Okay.
And it's the Razor Petal Lasher. Add a Razor Petal to your hand that deals 1 damage.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
Tough.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Alright, I'm going to need to look at the next word because I've written those down. Okay, the next word, I already know that, is leader.
There is the Murloc War Leader. There is the Raid Leader.
There is the Raid Leader, yes.
Oh god, what other leaders are there?
Tough.
I wonder if there's one where there's just like a word in there was like leadership or something like that. Leadership. You know, like something like that where it's just like indirectly is in there.
Nope.
I assume there's more. Let's say there's like 5 more. I don't know.
There's 1 more.
There's 1. Okay.
1 single card, and you just might get it. This card was super powerful way back in the day, like way before I was playing.
Way before, so it's definitely a classic or standard card because otherwise it wouldn't mean standard anymore when it was from way back in the day.
Exactly.
Which also means that all of those are classic or standard cards because the 2 aforementioned ones are. There is a... No, that's not it. That's a commander. Leader.
Yeah, leader.
I honestly can't think of it right now.
It is the Defias Ringleader.
Oh, yeah.
The royal card.
I wouldn't have thought of that anytime soon. Yeah. 2/2 combo summon a 2/1 Defias Bandit. I'm not even sure if it says Defias Bandit, but
that was really powerful back in the day when you could just coin it out on turn 1.
Yeah.
Great board. I've studied up on the history now that I've ever played this myself, but that's how it used to be. Next word is hunt.
Hunt.
Hunt, as in the eternal hunt, as in I will hunt you down.
Well, there will probably be hunters in there.
Well, there will be a lot of hunter cards.
No, but I'm saying like there's probably like oh god.
Yeah, of course, right.
Well, there is I actually don't know what the card is called, but I think the one that summons one of Mastiff has something with hunting.
Yes,
Hunting
Mastiff.
Hunting.
It's a 2/1 Mastiff.
Oh no, I was thinking about a different one, but sure.
That's the new Echo one.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about the one where it's like deal 1 damage.
No, that's just it says it summons a Mastiff.
Yeah, but what's the card called?
Oh man, what's the card called?
Does it say something with hunt?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I can look it up.
There's Hunter's Mark, which reduces a minion to 1 health.
It might not be in standard anymore.
That might be the case too, yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
That's what I was thinking. It might be out, but yeah.
Was it on the hunt?
Yeah, I want to say it was something with hunt. Yeah,
it was on the hunt, but it's no longer standard apparently.
Okay, fair.
Hunter's Mark, Hunting Mastiff.
Okay, there is definitely a lot more.
Yeah.
Hunt. Hunting. Hunter.
Yeah.
Hunters.
Hunters. There's a handful from the new expansion.
Yeah, of course, because there's like monster hunting and shit going on.
And a few classic ones too.
Oh God. Hunt. I want to say there's like at least 10 more, but I can't think of any.
Sorry. Okay, let me tell you. So we got the Duskhaven Hunter.
Okay.
From the new expansions, 2/5 stealth, and it does the Worgen thing.
Oh, right.
You got Professor Putrescent because it puts a
hunter secret into the battlefield.
Yep.
Oh,
you got the Rock Delar weapon because it fills your hand with
Hunter spell. Oh God, it's one of those.
Yeah, and now it's just neutral minions. Murloc Tide Hunter.
Yeah,
Rock
fair.
Tool Hunter. Razorfen Hunter. Big Game Hunter.
Oh right, the big game hunter.
The Muck Hunter and Hammond Jungle Hunter.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you like. It was kind of evenly split with hunter cards and neutral cards.
That's a lot of cards.
Yeah, it's a lot of cards.
And most of those had hunter in their name, like I said.
Yeah. Next word is win.
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 As in W-I-N.
As in dubs. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is probably every single Wind Fury card in there, isn't there?
Is there Wind Fury?
I mean, Wind Fury the card should definitely show up.
Yeah,
Wind Fury the Shaman card.
There is actually every single Wind Fury card in there.
Oh God, there's a lot of those. Well, there is the Dragonhawk. The Grotesque Dragonhawk isn't in there anymore, but I think the original Dragonhawk was called like the Young Dragonhawk.
Dragonhawk is in there, yes.
Well, there is Wind Fury the card, which is like a 2-mana Shaman card that gives them a new Wind Fury.
Yes.
There is how many Wind Fury cards are there these days? There isn't that many. There's a few though.
There isn't that many. I mean, it's most of the entire list, but yeah.
There's probably like 20 cards total, and I'm probably just thinking of 2 right now. But you know,
it's not all Wind Fury. Like there's other cards too. Like maybe half of them are Wind Fury related.
Yeah, of course. Wait, is the Uther of the Ebon Blade in there?
Nope. That's actually what I was thinking when I was looking for it, but it says when you summon them all, destroy your opponent, not win the game.
Oh, okay.
And it also just says on the hero power, not on the actual card.
Okay, fair.
Because the card just says Battlecry, equip a 5/3 lifesteal weapon.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's what I was originally thinking first too. But it's not.
There's probably something with winter in there.
Winter.
Winter.
Oh, winter. Yeah. For example.
I actually. God, why can't I? Wait, I can literally not think of a single one right now. But there is probably a lot from Frozen Throne there.
No, actually, I don't think so.
No, because there's a lot of like snow and frost and cold.
No,
winter is coming and it's cold. That's
far as I can see, there's one card with the name Winter in it, and it's not from the Frozen Throne.
Okay. That's surprisingly few, considering there's a lot of snow and cold and that kind of stuff in there. There would of course be the Kathrena Winter Wisp, which is the one.
That's the one.
There again, there's a lot of words that just contain wind somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Wait. Is Edwin that's spelled with a V or is it with a W? It's with a W.
Edwin's in there.
So that would make Edwin be in there.
Yep.
And I'm honestly tired of guessing wind cards right now because there is gonna be a lot of.
We got Wing Blast.
Yes. We
got Dust Devil has Wind Fury.
Yeah.
We have the Wind Speaker. It's gives friendly minions.
Gives Wind Fury, yeah.
Doomhammer has Wind Fury.
Yeah.
The Windshear Stormcaller and Alakir the Wind Lord.
Oh right.
There's Whirlwind.
Yes.
Young Dragonhawk, Raging Worgen, Thrallmar, Farseer all have Wind Fury.
Yes.
Chill Wind Yeti.
Oh yeah.
Corpse Taker can get Wind Fury if you have Wind Fury.
Right. Yes.
Stormwind Knight, Wind Fury Harpy, Storm Watcher all have Wind Fury. There is the Storm Wind Champion.
Right.
And then there's Deathwing.
Okay, to be fair, Deathwing I should have been able to get.
Deathwing, if you hadn't thought about wing, maybe you should think about wings more. You know, like
chicken wings,
yeah. And the last word is much. M-U-C-H. Much. Much, God. Much. Yeah, much.
I have a feeling that the exact word is in 0 cards, but of course, as part of other words, as like a syllable or something, probably.
All the cards that you're of have the word much in it.
Okay.
Really? By themselves. How many cards would that be, though? Give an estimation.
Like, I don't know, 5?
It's 3.
It's 3.
3 cards. Yeah, no neutral ones, by the way.
Okay.
And I believe it's...
Well, wait, okay, there is the Paladin card, right? Whenever your hero is healed, deal that... no, wait, no.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
Deal that much damage to a random enemy.
Yeah.
The Black Guard.
That's one of them. Mm-hmm. And probably all the other ones are similar, where it's like that much or something like that.
Yeah.
But the problem is a lot of those are also like...
Black
draw a card, deal damage equal to its cost.
You know what Blackguard's flavor text is?
I don't know.
Did I ever tell you the story of when I single-handedly took down a 29-29 Cthulhu? Reno Jackson.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty good. 2 more.
Huh. 2 more.
2 more. 1 more Paladin card.
1 more Paladin card.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, God. Tell me the Paladin card real quickly and then tell me the other class.
Huh?
Tell me the Paladin card real quickly and then tell me the other class so that I can...
It's eye for an eye.
Whenever your hero takes damage, deal that much.
The other class is Warrior.
Warrior.
Yeah. Quest Warrior runs this.
Quest Warrior runs this?
Yes, Quest Warrior runs this.
Makes me think it might be a taunt.
Well. Spell.
Okay. I don't know.
It is the Reckless Flurry. Spend all your armor, deal that much damage.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, because Shields them, for example, says deal damage equal to your armor.
Exactly, right. But Reckless Flurry words it differently. It says much.
That's just stupid, because the wording is a bit inconsistent because of very specific situations there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you spending your armor. You could say spend all your armor, deal damage equal to it, but that's...
Yeah, but then... Yeah.
Sounds weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all the ones I have. Let's get into the fact of the week, man. Because it's another week, and we gotta have a fact for every single one of those bastards.
Yes.
What's your fact of the week?
My fact of the week is probably at least equally nerdy as the rest of the show, but in a different way, because it is about science.
Science is good. It's probably the best form of nerdism.
So this is one that a lot of people don't understand because it actually doesn't really apply in the real world as much. And that is that if you push an object, it theoretically would keep moving indefinitely if there was no friction because of a concept called inertia.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, in reality, if you're pushing a car, for example, the tires are creating friction with the ground, and thereby you need to keep pushing.
Yes.
But you will notice that getting it to start moving is still harder than keeping it moving.
Right.
Because to get it start to move, you have to overcome its inertia,
which is the resistance of an object to move or to change
its state. Yeah. Because it could also, the inertia also applies when you're trying to stop it again.
Right.
But to keep it moving, you only have to apply the same amount of force that the friction is taking away.
Right. Okay. Good fact.
That's one of those things that, if you think about it, actually makes sense. But because it never,
because you don't think about
world,
it, exactly.
Just people think it takes force to keep an object in motion, which it doesn't, because it inherently tries to do that.
Exactly. So, full nerd podcast. There is one fact. There had to be one segment that isn't nerdy. I've got a fact about football, and this is only for people who are very much into football. I know their stuff, so you probably won't do too much with this. there's always a debate about who's like the best football players of all time and all that. The top 5 players in NFL history, according to Pro Football Reference's career approximate value, are in order: Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Jerry Rice, Fran Tarkenton, and Reggie White. Notice there is no Tom Brady in there. There's also no Joe Montana in there.
Okay.
Interestingly enough. There's also no baby goat Jimmy Garoppolo in there, which is a real tragedy. But I got a feeling in 15 years there will be. So Peyton Manning, apparently. So that, I don't know if that's settling a debate for you. It's still a subjective opinion for the most part, but that's what it is.
You just know that, some source said that is the best person. That doesn't settle the debate.
Fran Tarkenton was not expected, but he was there. So it was the career approximation value, whatever. Let's get into the second topic.
Yeah, let us get into the second topic. So, last week you said you had a rant about D&D, and this is your stage. Okay,
so we've been playing this game for a few times, like what, 3-4 times?
Yeah, not a lot.
Well, isn't that quite a lot? Well, if you consider the entire play time.
Yeah, but still, like...
It's really like over 24 hours.
The group that I DM, we've been playing for a bit over a year now.
Yeah.
Playing we planned to play weekly, but we ended up playing like once or twice a month.
Exactly. Still. That's always how that works out. That's the same how we doing it. We didn't play this week either.
Yeah, but that's still like, even if it was just once a month and exactly a year, would still be 12 times. And we do usually play at least from last time we played from 4 to 8, but usually we end up playing from 12 or 2 to 8. So that's a lot of time as well.
That's a lot of time. So wait, at night or at noon?
At noon.
Oh, okay, about to say.
And the only reason why we only play till 8 is because some people have to catch trains.
To college.
No, home.
Oh, home from college.
Yeah, from the place we're playing.
Oh, yeah, if you're playing at college.
Which is not college itself, but it's, the person in our group that lives closest to college.
Yeah, right.
Place, so, yeah.
Someone lives on campus. That person is always.
No, he's not living on campus, but he's he's the closest person there, which makes him the most central, but it doesn't matter for them.
Makes sense. Okay, what was I going to say? Okay, so
for role-playing terms, you have not been playing long, but sure, continue.
Yeah, we have been playing, so... I would assume you would like some evaluation now, some feedback off of me.
Well, that is what you were talking about, that you wanted to talk about.
Concerning the game. So, the game, it is an interesting activity. And with the group that we have established, which is just 4 people, it's the 2 of us and Joe and Darren, it's actually kind of interesting. Even though I know that specifically Darren and myself are not playing the game as it's supposed to be played for the most part.
Yeah, you are leaning a bit towards chaotic stupid.
Yeah, but that makes it, in my opinion, that makes it more fun. So I think that's how we should continue to play. Now, while it being an interesting activity, the game has just one, the way it's designed has one fatal flaw, which is it just being tedious. At some point, it's legit tedious. You'll be sitting there for an hour and not doing anything, right? So either the person who's being the DM is just writing stuff down, calculating shit, and you're not doing a thing, and other people take 20 minutes to do their turns.
Well, that's partially due to inexperience, though.
Yes.
Turns should normally not take more than 1 or 2 minutes.
Or for example, you're getting a new character and I was sitting there for 2 hours for my new character to be introduced, right?
Yeah, because we did not really walk into the direction that we apparently were supposed to.
Yeah, so that's sometimes pretty awful. During a battle, you'll be rolling 1 die, and then you'll be sitting for 15 minutes before you're ever supposed to say something or rolling another die again. So
it's also because whenever it's your turn, you just roll your die because you know you're attacking with a greatsword, and then you roll your damage.
Right.
For me, playing a spellcast is do I want to cast a spell? Do I want to hit people with my sword?
Right.
Do I want to hit people with... yeah. I mean, it's basically those two.
But still, it's not... People. Yeah. The amount of time that you spend actually playing is considerably low as opposed to the time that it needs to for the processing, because it's a very complex game. So I said before that this will be much more fitted for a video game, right? And he told me that specifically it's made not to be a video game.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? There are video games that are very much mechanically like Dungeons and Dragons. As a matter of fact, there's Dungeons and Dragons video games. But the thing that appeals to a lot of people is, well, first of all, the social interaction. And then, of course, the fact that whatever you're doing can potentially be resolved. Like, you're getting an idea that wasn't planned for.
Yeah, so there's no limitations by programming.
Yeah, which is a big thing. It's like, there is this giant wall that is blocking us off.
Yeah.
Let's just climb over the wall.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Pokemon, there's this tiny bush. I can't walk past it. Yeah. Let's go somewhere else.
Exactly. So, yeah. I guess. But, so, I would still probably prefer this over a video game of the same way, because that is not my type of video game. Specifically, probably because of the inherently connected social interaction and barbecuing and eating that we're doing.
Yeah.
At the same time.
That's actually a thing that classically is also very connected. Dungeons and Dragons and eating.
Eating?
Yeah, it's usually more like... I think most groups have it so there's like a lot of snacks on the table.
Oh, yeah.
But for us, it's just like straight up barbecue and then we play.
Well, for us, the table is just way too small, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's the smallest table in my basement.
That's also a problem that I've been running into a lot. Small tables.
Yeah, we need
small tables, it just doesn't work.
We might need to get a bigger table. I've also seen people playing it with like a board and figures and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
Like pieces.
That's a thing.
So we don't even have those.
No, we don't, because we just don't have the space for it. Also, those figures are expensive as hell.
You could build some yourself. We could just use chess pieces, man.
Or Lego figurines.
We could.
Which I may or may not. We can have a box of sitting right there.
We could have Darren be a bishop, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because he's playing a priest cleric.
He would be the black bishop, wouldn't he?
He'd be the... Dude, stop that. Yes, he would be a black bishop.
Which I guess would make you the white knight.
White knight, really? No. I'd be... What would it be? Like, as a barbarian?
Yeah, I mean, as a fighter it would have been even more accurate, but I don't know. Like, it's tough to categorize the bard, because it's just... Yeah. That's just the dude who throws around the piece and it's like, I'm winning!
Exactly. The bard is just the... It's like the clown in the suit who starts the clock for a Grandmaster game, just walks out of the room. And later does a press conference, maybe.
Yes!
Maybe not. Okay,
viciously mocks people to death.
Yeah, you've mocked rats to death before, which is also like kind of a weird thing. But yeah, the game is at some points very tedious. Therefore, and like at other points, it's very entertaining. Right, when you're just walking around, you're exploring stuff. It can be fun if it's like, oh yeah, we had that great idea. For example, like specific example from our game, right? So Darren would find it was like a glass.
It was a magical orb that would frighten people, and apparently, according to the book, was not supposed to be able to be moved out of the room, but someone skipped over that paragraph.
Right. So Darren took it, and everyone came close to it and ran away. So he basically was walking into the dungeon, and like all the rats and goblins and everything was running outside, and we were waiting there to kill everything, right? Which is an interesting thing to do.
That was kind of fun.
That was fun.
Would have been more fun if I had more than one hit point, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, that was great. Okay, that was interesting.
Resting, it's a thing.
Yeah, we had we had like all the ideas, and we were laughing. That was fun, because that allows for more creativity. But last time we had a fight that went on for like 2 hours, because there was like 30 opponents.
Yeah.
That was so awful.
Very tedious, especially because, like, the thing was that everyone was rolling bad for their 2 hits.
Yeah.
Meaning that no one was hitting, meaning the combat took twice as long as it needed to.
Took even longer, exactly. So that was just straight up awful. That was like the worst thing I ever sat through. It was like a lecture on some type of bullshit. Like, it was really bad. Yep. Sometimes if you're not going to do anything, it's really tedious, and you can't really leave the room or anything.
Because your turn is coming up anyway.
Because the turn's coming up at some point, and also we have a barbecue down there. I'm not supposed to go up there and play some Hearthstone while you all sitting in my basement taking all my shit, right?
But it's like that one was really tough because we weren't hitting shit. Our enemies weren't hitting us.
Exactly.
Well, we got like a hit in per round, maybe.
Like in the beginning, like the first session that we played was probably the best so far. And from then it got worse because the first one was like, oh yeah, you're just walking around outside. We're not in that dungeon yet with that very specific mission. We're like on our way. There's a huge staircase and you could make all kind of decisions and all that. That was probably the funniest one. The funnest one too. And then it just got downhill as it became more and more detailed on that one specific thing.
So that is also partly, of course, because of the specific adventure.
Yeah.
Which is very much a dungeon crawl for the most part.
Yes.
There are adventures that are set in more open locations. Mm-hmm. Those, of course, are also tougher to pull off as a DM because there's more factors to take into account.
Yeah.
But yeah, those definitely exist.
Right. So it's an incredible amount of work to direct that, right?
Yeah, like I'm currently DMing Curse of Strahd, which takes place in like an area that consists of like 3 towns and the surrounding woods and stuff.
Yeah. And
people can basically go anywhere.
That's really tough. Like that would be so much easier in a video game, but I guess
there's always like the little things like, oh yeah, there is a weapon you could get at that place, or there's wine you have to get from the winery that's been taken over by evil druids.
Oh great, evil druids.
Yeah. Fan. So, but like there's oftentimes there's like multiple kind of quests, so that there's like directions that the players should go, but then even then there might be multiple ones they could go to.
Yeah.
So you have to prep for everything.
Right. So I've still
that can be tough.
Through those sessions, still not really decided if I'm supposed to like it or not. I'm still not sure if it's fun or not, which is kind of tough because you really don't know after playing that much. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's incredibly boring.
But from what I've heard, what you just said is that a lot of times that combat is being slow.
Yeah, combat that one time was awful, and of course if it's not your turn forever. Like, for example, that time when Darren picked up that orb, right? He was the only person doing anything because we couldn't get near him anyway.
Yeah, also, you see, that's the type of thing. First of all, that, of course, because you should never split the party. That's, like, one of those, like, rules that people throw on. It's not an actual rule, but it's like, never split the party. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So, that's, of course, can be a problem, because whenever you split the party, that means that there is people who are currently not part of the action.
Yes.
And in that case, it's, oh, hey, look, Darren is doing stuff over there while we're waiting for enemies to approach.
Exactly.
For like 10 turns.
That was like awful.
Then, of course, the comment that you were talking about, which was kind of a slog, but also people taking a while to make their turns because they're not that used to their characters.
Yeah.
Is a big factor here. Thereby meaning if we play more, people will hopefully be making their turns faster. Yes. Thereby increasing the enjoyment for pretty much everyone in the group.
Yeah. Well, one more thing is that, like, even though that with the orb thing happened, I think Darren is probably the one making the game the most fun. Because he also doesn't really know what he's doing, right? So I think if I was sitting down with y'all and, like, the group that you're playing with for a year, I think it would be awful for me. Because, like, oh, man, y'all playing the game by the rules and you're not doing anything batshit insane.
Oh, there has been batshit insane stuff. Trust me.
Well, okay, but you know what? You know what I mean in general, right?
Yeah, but you should never be restricted by the rules.
Of course.
The rules are more like guidelines. I mean, of course, there is things you just can't do because it doesn't make sense, for example.
I could just be like, I'm committing suicide now.
Yes.
I'm gonna jump off this cliff.
At which point you would probably reintroduce with a new character and have to wait 2 hours again for us to find you, so you probably shouldn't do that.
I could just be like, I'm gonna kill all my dudes, my members, and then commit suicide.
Yeah. But, so, for example, the stuff like, oh yeah, let me pick up this thing and use it as a weapon.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff just happens, but the problem is that the rules make it so that improvised weapons are bad for some reason, which I always thought was kind of a shame.
Yeah, it's a little more like thinking and writing and like calculating work than I would like it to be for it being a game. Because that's also some of the tedium was when you need to always look at, okay, this many and this many and that, and there's stuff we need to add on to that and all that. So
it's math. You like math.
Yeah, I do like math, but in that, like, maybe I'm not appreciating the game for what it's supposed to be. It could be more fast paced for me. Like, it honestly could be a little bit quicker and like Hearthstone, right? That's pretty good. You got one turn, like 1 minute to make your turn.
I think it's 90 seconds.
Or 90 seconds and stuff. If not Dormers on the board, it's not.
It's 15 seconds then.
Yeah, something like that, right? It's fast paced. You're always engaged, and that, like, sometimes you just zone out during Dungeons and Dragons, and when you zone out for like 2 hours, it's something. So I'm kind of curious to see how this is gonna develop in the future and how my attitude towards that game is gonna develop.
Actually, the whole thing you said about if you were playing with my group, where we actually know the game better, and that actually would probably make it better for you in a way, though, because that means the turns are faster.
I can't really judge that at the moment. So I don't know. I think the more off storyline we're getting, and the more crazy, the better. The funner.
That's always the fun stuff for sure.
Yeah, like with the orb, we was basically thinking like he's gonna just run through the entire dungeon, and everyone's running out, and we're just gonna stand in the door and push everyone into a trap.
Yeah. So those moments are fun, but the problem is you still need a story for those moments to happen, because otherwise you're just messing around.
Yeah.
And then it loses its novelty.
Yeah. Also, I'm not a person who likes to have allies, and well, I just don't like to make allies. So like,
yes,
there's some there who's like, oh yeah, they're supposed to be the good guys. They're supposed to be with us. I want to kill everybody in that dungeon.
Yeah.
Because I can't, like, I don't know. I don't see any difference between a goblin and a kobold.
Well, technically both are inherently evil, but in that case, the way the kobolds were introduced, it was somewhat obvious that they are potential allies, and with there being two big groups in the dungeon, using them against each other, of course, makes sense to me.
Yeah, that would be, of course, the best idea. But still, we don't want anyone living there when we escape. And well, the actual aim of the whole story, like the whole quest, like since that was given to us, we haven't gotten back to that at all.
Well, we gotta find the people who went into the dungeon. We found one of them. He was dead. Yeah. But
it's great.
It's like, okay, we're exploring the dungeon to find the people we're supposed to find. So we are kind of progressing that indirectly.
Well, I guess.
But we're also dying a lot on the way.
That also hasn't been mentioned for the last 3 sessions. Like, I'm not sure if like we still have that in mind during play at all. I'm thinking that like for me, I'm pretty sure for me and Darren, it's just like our goal is right now to exterminate every living thing in that building.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we made this about amongst us, right?
Also, Darren could heal a bit more. He's a healer after all.
He's a priest.
He's a cleric.
Same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's wrap this podcast up because we got some other stuff to do as well. Let us know whatever you think about all that nerdy stuff. Do you want to see us do more Dungeons and Dragons? Do you want to see us do a chess series? If we get some time, maybe we will. Hearthstone, whatever you want to tell us, let us know. If you got a good fact or song of the week, by the way, that's a thing you should do. Let us know in the comments because we're not gonna copy him, but it's always interesting to know.
Yeah, for sure.
And potentially good songs we're always open to. So
there is a playlist for that.
Yeah, there is.
That is on our channel in the playlist section. I might put a link in this podcast if I remember to.
All right. What's it called?
I think it's like subscriber music suggestion or something like that. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Oh right, yes, that one.
There is a link in the playlist description as well to get editing access to it, so you can add songs to that.
Yeah.
There's also,
so that's how you can let us know.
If I post a link in the description, it will also already be the editing link, of course, but just saying.
Share your songs with us.
Yes.
Is what we're basically saying. Okay. So you can contribute to the channel in that way if you want to. If you will. Indirectly.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Okay. So let's get into the song of the week. We're already talking
about music, right?
High note, bad musical pun. What's the song of the week?
Just to differentiate a bit from all the other stuff we've done lately with songs of the week, this one is a bit different.
Is it good different or bad different?
Well, it's the Pokemon theme.
That's it? No, I'm just kidding. So it's bad different. Why is it the Pokemon theme?
Because why wouldn't it be the Pokemon theme?
What in the hell? Okay, you know what?
It's actually not even that bad of a song, but it's of course mostly nostalgia.
I'm not going to even start questioning it. My song of the week. Do you remember how at one point we both picked America?
Yes, but it
was different.
Are you picking America by Razorlight?
That's what I'm doing.
Yes.
So we gotta complete the whole list. So my song of the week is America by Razorlight, which is one of the songs of the actual week for me because I've been listening to that for a while. I still think that I'm good at recognizing songs from the first beat, right? I'm really good at it. We can test that out later. But I still think it sounds basically exactly like the first cut is the deepest for the first few seconds.
Okay.
Have I ever mentioned that to you?
I'm not sure if you did, but
we gotta
check that out.
We gotta check that afterwards. Okay, so that's my song of the week. Let us know what you think about it. What is your favorite song by the name of America? Let me know in the comment section below. And I'm gonna see you next time, JJ.
That's it?
That's it.